I'm Jessi. I'm 49.
I'm Sharon. I'm 53.
My name is Sonia. I am 36 years old.
Hi, I'm Britta. I'm 44.
Welcome back to Interwoven's 5th season, featuring conversations and celebration and support for women in middle life. This season, we are thrilled to share support with Mother Lion. More than just a place to stay, Mother Lion is a whole sensory experience. Located in Milwaukee's Bayview neighborhood, Mother Lion awaits you with open arms. Today's episode features Jessi and Sharon, work friends turned sisters. Join them as they walk through their shared big life transitions, resilience, finding one's way to parenthood, checking the boxes in life, the idea of relevancy, and middle life wisdom gained through experiences. With this project, we are creating space for women to share their stories. It is not meant to diagnose or treat a medical condition. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and well-being. Remember to hit subscribe so you can be the first to know about new episodes, and visit our website to join the Interwoven community, receive newsletters and event information, access all of our resources, and connect with us on social. Find us at interwoven.com. That's interwovxn.com.
I'm Jessi. I'm 49. I'm an interior designer, mom to a wonderfully imaginative daughter. I'm an empath. I love cooking, the delicious sensory everything of a good cup of coffee. I love early morning walks with my dog before everyone is up and the world is just peaceful. But on the flip side, I do love laying in bed and just milking the minutes until my daughter wakes up. So that's when I can fit that in. I really just live for moments of connection with people where there are the little kindnesses in life that we can just extend to other people. We're all going through this life together in many different facets. And when we can just extend kindness, no matter our age or where we come from, we can just connect with other people. That definitely is my passion and lights me up.
I'm Sharon. I also have a wonderful husband and a 15-year-old daughter, which has been a very interesting transition through teenagedom. And I serve as a communications director for a large nonprofit in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Just last night, actually. Of course, going through reels and things like that. I did this tiny little meditation, and there was this color wheel. It said, just do this like little meditation and figure out what your aura is. Ooh. And blue, more like turquoise. Completely. You know me. It's like spiritual and empathic, and this was not a professional exchange here. Yeah. I literally saw it on Facebook, so whatever. So where did we meet, Jess?
Oh my gosh. We both worked for the same architectural firm in 2001-ish. And I was this new young designer, like, oh my God, everything is exciting and fantastic. And you were, what was your title at that time? Like,
I was a
marketing
strategist.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in our Madison office, and Sharon worked in the Milwaukee office, and we were having an open house because the Madison office had just done a renovation, and Sharon was in charge of that. So she comes, and I was one of the group that was part of the planning, I guess. And oh my gosh, Sharon was fun from the moment she walked in the door, just goofing off, laughing. We got our stuff done. We got serious, but there was just such a lightness and a joy and a constant, just free spirit, like goof off vibe that I was like, I like this chick. So we just really clicked.
We did.
I don't even know. Do we keep in touch?
I don't know. It was just super cool because what we do when we put together these events, right? You want different people from different areas in the organization, because I was in marketing, and I just remember you and I laughing a ton. Mm-hmm. You were just such a blast to work with and so creative. And I just feel like we clicked from the very moment we started working together. But then you moved to Milwaukee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same firm, moved to Milwaukee.
I think we were still talking together, maybe more in a professional way. But then when you moved to Milwaukee, like, that was it. It was over.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Like,
lunches together all the time, and it was just great seeing you every day. And
I know.
Thankfully, we were on different sides of the office, or we probably would have both been fired.
But so we were in our 30s.
Yeah, and I was single, you were married. I was thinking about just thinking about all of the big life transitions that we've been through so far.
True.
Your daughter being born, you waiting and waiting and waiting to
8
finally
years.
get pregnant
8
and
years.
have this amazing child. I meet my husband, I get married. Your daughter's my flower girl.
Yep.
My struggle with infertility, your sister's death, your mom's death, your dad's death, my daughter being born and us adopting her. It's like just all of these huge life things.
Yeah.
And I think this whole like midlife, whatever, this time in our lives is just rich with wisdom and just all of these struggles that we've been through in our lives that just help us learn and grow, and we come together to support each other, and you go through something and I go through something, and it's so enriching to be where I am today at 49 and look back and like, wow, I'm pretty resilient.
It's interesting because when I was thinking about this conversation about midlife, I'm 53. Right? So I'm going through a couple of things before you. So like perimenopause, menopause, like all that stuff. And I remember there was a time like during that transition for me, I would share it with you, but we weren't going through it together.
Right.
And it kind of was like that with our relationship where we did go through some things together, but then there were other things we didn't. And I can only say that just knowing that I had this person to lean on, even though we might not totally understand what each other was going on, it would be like you were my first call.
Yeah.
Like you were the person that I needed to lean on and talk about. And like, I know you would do the research, like, oh, I found this article or whatever. And I feel like that's what sisterhood is. Like that is what I cherish so much.
This is the time of perimenopause and all that. I know I'm sort of in it, I guess, but I don't have all the symptoms and things that you hear a lot about, and didn't have a period for almost a year last year. And I remember Sharon telling me, if you're in perimenopause and you go without a period for a year, then you're officially in menopause, right? That's the rule.
Yep.
So I'm going through this, and like month 11 or something, I'm like, oh, Sharon, this is exactly like what you said. I'm almost through the gates, and like here I am, like period, and you sort of like start the process again, and like those are the like silly things that you laugh about right now.
It was the worst. That happened to me too. It was like month 10 or 11, and all of a sudden I'm like, really? I have to do. So I remained in perimenopause, and there's
so funny.
There's a lot of emotion in that too, because it's like that you're moving on to this next phase. I don't know that I necessarily was like, oh, I can never have children, because it took me a long time to get pregnant. And that was a huge miracle. So I never really anticipated that I would get pregnant again. So I think I grieved that
at
a long time
time
ago. No, before then. So I know that I've heard some women who go through perimenopause that feel that sort of grief, like, oh my gosh, like I can't get pregnant again. And that's real. Like that's very, very real. For me, going through perimenopause to menopause was the body changes. It literally felt like overnight I grew the pregnant belly. It was really kind of scary. It was sort of a new grieving process that I had to go through. And then I got myself down this road of thinking like, okay, well, this is just it. It's because of hormones. It's because of this. It's whatever. And I found something that works for me from a nutrition standpoint that, you know what, it's not it. Like there are answers. There are, people that you can lean on and research you can do to find what works for you. This doesn't have to be where I am. And I've learned to, like, just in the last 6 months even, just like, don't make those excuses, to sort of sit in that. Like I need to take a look at it and say, what can I do? Or is there something possible? Without beating myself up, right? Or saying that I'm something that I should be that I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
That's such a good reminder, because it's not where we are right this second. If there's something that we feel like we want to change, or you're stuck in something, this is not where we will be forever.
Right. This
is just a little blip. It's a little moment in time, and then tomorrow comes, or you get an aha, or you find this new nutrition plan that works for you, or whatever, and you move on to the next phase. It's not, you don't have to be stuck.
Yes. It's sort of like the difference between I am where I am versus I want to be. And it's like, I don't want to be in that I want to be stage. I just want to be where I am and to love myself and accept myself for exactly where I am. And I feel too like if I'm looking at my body or I'm comparing myself to other people, then there's something that's happening inside of me that needs work. Do you feel that way?
Oh my gosh, constantly. Yes, I work on that every single day.
Yeah.
Because it's the comparison of someone's outsides with your insides, and it's based on nothing but fiction and what's going on, the tape that plays in my head, and it's not real. But staying grounded and centered. And one thing that I don't want to forget to bring up, we've been doing a gratitude list for 12 years? Every day, 6 things, sometimes 12 things,
13.
Sometimes 3, depending on your day.
Right.
But starting our day, I look forward to that. Like first thing in the morning, I open my computer and I do a gratitude list.
Yes.
And it's so centering, and it's my time to connect with you. And even if we're not talking for a couple days, you know what's going on with me. I know what's going on with you. We share struggles. It's a safe place. It's like this little safe bubble that we have that's just us. That no one else can touch and no one else can know. It's sort of like a little, you're my journal entry for the morning kind of a thing. Yeah. And I love that. I look forward to it every day. And I think that's drastically changed my mindset through certainly the last 12 years that I've done that, in looking for those grateful moments in the little things. Like, I'm grateful for sitting here with you today, or I'm grateful that I overcame this big thing. It can be the little things or it can be the big things.
Yeah, and like some days it's like, I am grateful for the sunshine. I'm grateful that I can walk. There is so much healing and power in gratitude.
Oh my gosh.
Because there are so many things in life in general, and I don't care what age you are. Midlife is an interesting term to me because we really don't know what our midlife is. You know, you had mentioned about my sister passing away, and she died when she was 51 from cancer. You know, what was her midlife? For women, and I see this with my daughter who's 15, the messages that we are given as women through our lives, you know, it's the message of you always have to be on. You always have to be pretty. Always have to be wearing like fanciest clothes, or you always have to be attractive for another person. It's
or to like, fit in, or to measure up or belong. I think that's the tough.
Exactly. You know, and I'm not saying that these messages aren't true for boys too. This is my experience as a mom of a daughter. I remember when she was little reading articles about, you know, if you're looking in the mirror, you know, compliment yourself in front of her. Like say, oh, I look really pretty today or whatever, you know. And you know what? I realized too that that's not total reality as well, because I do feel like sometimes like that insecurity or whatever, we have to work through that. I think we all have it. We'll always all have it, but it's how we work through it and the kind of support we get through it. Because I've told you, I'm like, oh, I have self-doubt or I feel insecure, and we talk through it.
Because usually something is underlying and you just need to talk it out and like, oh, yeah, I'm worried about this or that. Like,
I feel like this midlife today for me is such a gift because I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I grew up not like really having the sit down about sex or even periods or what perimenopause or pregnancy even looks like, or post pregnancy. Oh my gosh. Like, in a way, I think to myself, well, was that a way for us to just protect each other? Like, we would just be there sort of physically, but then we were sort of protecting each other from what post-pregnancy really did feel like or what it was. But I think we have to talk about it more.
I felt that way when my daughter was born. We went through a couple of years of infertility, and when she was born, I was 42. And I just sort of felt duped by everyone in the past, because it's like no one talks about how impossibly hard parenting is. Yeah. And I love my daughter with all my heart, but it's exhausting. I'm a working mom. I work full time. So trying to balance that out and give myself adequate time and just enjoy the heck out of this little thing that I waited so long for. And it's given me a really good perspective on, it's like anything in life when you wait so long for something and go through so many struggles. Like, I'm not saying I appreciate her more than anyone else appreciates their kid, but for me, that keeps me centered with her. That keeps me focused on the now. And like, I am going to enjoy this time, even though she just had a tantrum or whatever it is. I'm still just going to enjoy it because, you know, one day I'm not going to have that.
Enjoy the
well, I don't.
I'm going to enjoy this tantrum. This is amazing.
And we'll be right back. Uniquely adorned and lovingly tended, Mother Lion extends her arms towards those in need of rest, healing, connection, and celebration. Nestled in the heart of Milwaukee's Bayview neighborhood, Mother Lion is a single-level home that sleeps up to 10 people in 3 creatively curated bedrooms. With a fully functioning kitchen, cozy living and dining rooms, a bright Four Seasons room offering lounge sofas, fireplaces, a landscape backyard with hot tub, sauna, cold plunge, plenty of candles, and fresh spring water for your enjoyment. Find a temporary home in them for your vacation, celebration, class event, group retreat, or solo sleepover. Visit www.motherlionretreat.com and use code Interwovxn10 for 10% off your stay.
It's the conversation that doesn't always happen. It's just this rosy, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start a family. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to have 2.5 kids. And this is what's going to happen, which is fantastic to have those dreams. But like my plan for how my family was going to come about did not look like this.
Same.
I didn't see the blessings that I got from the challenges that I had. And I think that's what I was talking about before about like the wisdom of this period of our lives. I just have this analogy of us as like a physical, tangible being that we just keep getting puzzle pieces added to ourselves to complete ourselves in our lifetime, where all of these experiences are just one more little piece
thread,
that just define us and complete us. And
well,
it's just
it's
cool.
Interesting that you say that too, like about enjoying the temper tantrum. And the thing is that I feel that you can endure. Let me use that word. The tantrum when you're taking care of yourself. And I think sometimes as moms get into this mindset that we are all things to our children, maybe even more so than dad, that I think when I put that kind of pressure on myself to be that sort of all-encompassing superhero mom, that's when parenting becomes so hard. Or when I have unrealistic expectations about how I am with my daughter, like teaching her self-esteem. Well, you kind of have to grow into that, right? Like, yes, I can be a model for her 100%. And that I don't mean runway. Just to model that kind of behavior for her is so important. But you know what I said to her the other day? I'm like, I don't always feel good about myself. I don't.
It's true.
I don't always feel on top of my game. I am not perfect. She needs to see my humanness.
And we've also talked about how important it is, and we both share this, that admitting the times that we are not our best selves, or we need to clean up something that we
say we're sorry,
said the wrong thing to, or it came out wrong, or like, I mean, I know I've hollered at my daughter or whatever, done something where it's like, oh, I just feel like a jerk. And I've gone back and said I'm sorry and talked to her about it and owned it, and we move on. I am modeling for her. It's okay to admit that we don't know how to do something, to struggle at something, and it's what you do with that.
Right.
Can you overcome? How are you going to pick yourself up? Pick yourself up and move on to the next thing and try again.
We want to give to our daughters what we wanted. Growing
absolutely.
up. And what we want and need now. I want to be in a position where when she comes to me, I can have those conversations with her. And she already has. What a gift.
That's so awesome.
And that I can give her real information, truthful information that she's not getting online, right? Or from her friends who maybe learned that from their 16-year-old sister.
Exactly.
And I feel like for midlife, for me anyway, I'm at this point, especially in my career, like just going down that road, is I have gained, you said wisdom, gained so much wisdom through experience, moving through my career and such, that I'm so grateful for, that now I'm in this really cool place where I just want to help the next person who's coming up in this role. I'm learning from them 100%. But I have some wisdom to share, and I just want to give that freely to them so that then they can also strive in their careers.
Right. There's such a confidence, I think, that comes with this phase of my life, that I've done a lot, made a lot of mistakes. I've climbed whatever ladder, grown my career into a certain point. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I've checked the box on the things that I really, really desperately wanted when I was like in my 20s.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I've kind of arrived. What am I doing with that? I'm content. I still have a really strong work ethic. I want to keep moving. I want to keep growing, but I know that I don't have to push quite so hard.
Yep.
Like I was a little bit extreme for a long time, maybe a little. I can just pull back a little and chill. And I'm still doing great work, but I can just relax a little bit more. A lot more, actually. I can let things roll off my shoulders and not hold on to them so tightly like I used to before.
Things don't take as long to prepare for. So like in my career, because I've been through it so many times, I have little tips and tricks and maybe secrets that other people don't know to help me prepare in an hour that maybe would take me 3 days to prepare in the past. And so if I can share that with somebody, awesome. But it's the same thing with my daughter. You also have to experience it and move through it yourself. I'm in this place where I just want to celebrate other people's successes.
Same.
Now, at the same point, like I feel fear about some things when it comes to physical things. I was just thinking about this the other day. So I'm the oldest on my team, and I have folks on my team who are like in their 30s, 40s, and then I have a couple of 20-year-old folks on my team. And I don't care about being the oldest. There are times, though, that like what will pop into my head is like relevancy, knowing that I do have some old school knowledge that is it relevant today, right? And that's where I have to be open to learn from other younger folks on my team because they have knowledge that I don't have too. So that's sort of a fear that pops up. And I'll be honest with you, Alzheimer's runs in my family. I know this sounds random, like but it just kind of hit me in my head. Sometimes like if I'm forgetful about something, that's always in the back of my head. And I don't want that, but it's there. Like it's true. But so those fears can be real.
I think you talking about, relevancy in younger people that you work with, that definitely hit me when there was a younger group of architects and designers that we were hiring, and I was realizing like, holy shit, I could be their parents. I could have a kid that's like 20 something. I'm like, oh my God.
100%. Yes. I'm like, I'm that person now.
That was definitely a transition point of sort of, maybe that's the I've arrived in midlife ceremony. I don't know, but it was definitely like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Like overnight, it seemed like I was not in the young group in the office. I moved to the older group in the office. But it didn't take me long to be like, so what? I was sort of like, okay, so I'm older. Do I really want to be doing what they're doing right now? And would I go back and want to do that again? Probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
6 years ago, when I first started my job, I had the choice between two monitors. And I really wanted the bigger monitor, right? So I could see better. But I didn't want to get it because it was the bigger monitor. I did it anyway because I knew it was good for me. It's like move through your pride, like whatever. And I'm so glad that I did it. But then I told my team, I said, it's not because I can't see, it's because I have wise eyes. And so that's what we say. Yes,
I love it.
Yes, I have wise. I think a big, huge part of this whole thing is what goes on in our head and how we're comparing. And that's why going back to the gratitude list, it's so important to start my day with gratitude every single day.
And just really, instead of the comparing, just owning where you are.
I'll say it, we can't expect our significant other to be something that we're not. Right? And I think that is a huge thing that I've been working through too, is the way that you and I connect, knowing that I am not going to be connecting with my husband in that same way. That's okay.
Exactly.
He's so loving and loyal and supportive of me and willing to work through our stuff. Which I'm so grateful for. I have to focus on me.
To be a better coworker, to be a better mom, to be a better wife, I have to focus on me. I have to start with me.
There can be really difficult situations in relationships. And you know what? Let's talk about that for a second because, for maybe some younger folks who are newly married or what have you and like live that honeymoon phase as long as you can and work on the marriage so that you can be in a honeymoon phase several times throughout your marriage. But it's hard.
It's hard
work. As hard as parenting.
The things that you put the hardest effort into, I think, are the richest reward.
In those hard times, right? Where maybe you're looking at your husband and you're just like, who is this stranger? Or how did we even come together? Like, how are we even married? For sure, he's thought that too. Being able to work on myself and say, how am I in this relationship? And how am I showing up? What am I resentful for? And what is that saying about me? And then being able to speak it out loud. Like, vulnerability is really hard.
It's hard to express ourselves. For me, hard to express myself when I am afraid to be vulnerable. It's like,
well, and we have so much on our shoulders that we put there that I have to be on. I have to be available to everybody. And it's like that over accommodating thing. I've really had to step back and say, wait a second, I can still be there for people without going over the top.
Yes.
And for me, journaling has been really good.
Yeah. And well, same with meditations. Like, I turn to meditations all the time. That's like a gift I can give myself. It's awesome. I think one other transition that's popped into my head, we've talked a lot about just perimenopause and just midlife stuff, but the transition of when a parent or your parents pass, like, what does that mean? My dad passed in September last year, and it's like, well, what is that dynamic supposed to be now? Like, I'm checking up on my mom all the time. How is she doing? I'm like always sort of worried about her in the background. They're married for 50 years. So it's like she has her own transition, but I can't help her or ease her transition. I can only just be there to support. But like for me, identity wise, where is that? So it's like every little, you don't think of it as, you think of like, oh, it's grief. You lost a parent. I loved my dad deeply and he's gone. I guess I didn't realize until I lost him that there is a whole other transition that I have to go through. You let the peripheral relationships that you see are not really serving you. You just sort of like let them trickle off, and you lean into those that are supportive and loving and like, who's my bubble? Who is my protective, safe bubble? And you nurture the heck out of that to kind of get through this transition.
I remember going to a family picnic a few years ago. So my mom had passed 9 years ago, and then my dad passed 6 years ago. It was shortly after my dad had passed. We did a family picnic, and his brother is the last surviving of his siblings. I just remember sitting there in the middle of this picnic thinking, when my uncle passes, if he should pass before me, I'm like a patriarch then in the family. It was so weird being that level now in the family. It's just interesting being in that position. And I think that's sort of where that whole like, oh, 40 is the new 30. It's like this convincing ourselves that we're not old or what have you. It doesn't feel weird anymore, I guess. It's fine. I don't feel like I'm that ancient person that maybe a 5-year-old would look at. That is a whole new transition, is seeing yourself in that light. And then the next transition after that is sort of recognizing your own mortality and thinking, oh, wow, I could, be here for 10 or 20 more years. Like, that's bizarre. For me, it's sort of like embrace every bit of life. I don't want to be the working mom anymore. My daughter's friend's mom wants to take them to the Barbie movie on Thursday. I want to go.
Right.
But I have a schedule at work, and it's like, no, you know what? I'm going because I don't want to miss out on that. And if there is one thing I can say to my younger self, don't miss out. Work will be there.
Always. Work
and
is always
have
there.
those boundaries at work. We all go through our journey. Just don't miss out.
Right.
And it's not the fear of missing out, being there for the people who are in your bubble that should be in your bubble.
And I think that is something that I have gained in my 40s that I did not have. I think once life got busier and work demands were there and motherhood and all of that got serious and we got really, really, really busy, I think that's when I saw myself realize like, whoa, now I have to like purposefully schedule getting up at 5 to go for a walk. I have to purposely schedule time to meditate or to go do something that I need to do to fill my bucket. And it's really helped me kind of sift through and know what big, huge piece is missing. I need that self-care. So you going to the movie on Thursday, that is self-care.
It is.
You have learned at our age to prioritize yourself. And it's okay to take an afternoon off or to take the day off. That's what PTO is for.
Yeah, and it's okay to do it like kind of last minute. People will survive without me. One of the things I remember saying to my husband, and we were in the thick of it, like you just said, just let's stop for a minute and just realize that, yes, this is the busiest time of our life, but it's also the richest time of our life. There's nothing like this time right now.
Is there a part of yourself or your body that you appreciate more?
Yes. I so appreciate like my upper arms and my thighs.
My chin is particularly...
Oh my God, I love my chin. I love it.
I love my skin more since I found a collagen moisturizer that is amazing. Oh my God, my skin was so dehydrated, and now it just it feels so much better. Skin is going to lose elasticity. This is what happens. Yep. Okay, well, what do we do with that? Find a good product. Get a new mascara that makes your eyes bright.
For me, it's like it's not even about what I look like. I want to be comfortable, but I also want to be healthy. When I was thinking about my body, I was actually thinking about my organs, like my heart and my brain, just my gut. Those things are really important, and just making sure that I'm aligning them, because I think we look at our bodies as individual parts and pieces, and they're not. We are all one whole, and our brain affects our gut. And so it's like being mindful of that. The one thing I do need help with is the exercise thing. Like, I love that you wake up 5 o'clock in the morning while I'm sleeping to do your walk. I'm like, sleep is hugely important for me. Like, hugely important. I need to just do my lazy girl exercises in my bed, put my legs up on the wall, and do some stretches, for God's sake. Why am I resisting it, Jess? Why?
The whole, what I appreciate about my body is just resiliency. I handle stress horribly, and it's a constant struggle to try and stay balanced. I have bouts of anxiety, and just trying to calm myself down. And I do all these self-care things and put good food in my body and be really mindful of what I'm eating that nurture instead of complicate something. And I heal. We're all hard on our bodies, at some point in our lives. You just pause and redirect and nurture a little bit, and realize that just go to bed earlier, lay in bed a little later in the morning, go take a nap, give myself permission to go take a nap. It's those little things. I can't really identify any one thing, but I feel so much more comfortable and centered in my body. I'm spiritually connected, more spiritually connected than I've ever been in my life. And there's just a sureness about who I am that I did not have. I was not comfortable with who I was years ago. And there's just a comfortable acceptance.
It's also the work that you've done, the introspection, the connectedness to something higher than yourself, the work that I've done on myself. That's what makes me feel comfortable in my own skin. We can learn from each other, but we can also decide what works best for us, which is so freeing to truly know what works for me, what I like, knowing those things about me. What's my favorite color? What makeup do I use?
It has to feel right.
And I feel too, it's like, if I'm not happy with the way that I feel, or I want to change something, I can. Like, when you think about women who lived in the early 1900s, they did not have the access that we do.
Not at all.
I mean, it's such a blessing and a curse, isn't it? It's like all these things we're exposed to that we're told we should be, but then we also have access to all this wonderful information that we can decide for ourselves if it's going to work. And we can try something and we can change our mind. And that's empowering.
Well, it's choices. We all have choices. Just thinking about when my brother died 15 years ago, it turned my world upside down. But the positivity that came out of that, there was just an acceptance and a positive outlook about that. Even losing my dad last year, it was so sad, but it was just a beautiful, positive experience. Leaning into the positivity, the gratitude list, I think those things and having that mindset really keep me grounded, because you can get through anything with a positive attitude. Something will come of this. We don't know what it is. We might not know for a little while, but something amazing will come. That's part of the excitement of like, we'll find out.
If you don't feel like you can come out of that, I can't even imagine losing my spouse or a child. And there are just things that maybe you can't without some help.
Exactly.
I have gone to therapy at various times in my life, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good because you and I can talk about things together, but sometimes you do need that extra outside help, from somebody who has heard similar stories from other people that can give you hope too. Just being open to that.
Absolutely.
You're not alone.
Just awesome to have this continuation of what we talk about all the time together.
I so appreciate you, and I'm just so glad that we have this opportunity to do this.
Exactly. This was great. Yes, love you.
Okay, bye. Love
Bye.
you.
Thanks for joining us today. We invite you to give us a star review and to hit subscribe for a new empowering conversation each week. Visit our website where you'll find our newsletter, event dates, and other amazing resources. Visit interwoven.com, that's interwovxn.com, to sign up today. This show's copyright is fall of 2023. Our Interwoven producers are Teresa Kopak, Rebecca Jankowski, and Jen Gilmore. All original music was created and performed by Gina Barrington.